form. So before we even graph, we need to kind of understand what slope-intercept form is. And so on your sheet that I gave you, it tells you that slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So basically, y is all by itself. It's not 5y, 4y, it's y. Okay, so you can't have a number in front of the y. And that's going to equal your slope, which is m, times x, plus your y-intercept. Okay, so whatever number's in front of the x is your slope. That's what we call m. Okay, then whatever number's after it without the variable, that's your y-intercept. Remember, your y-intercept is where it intersects the y-axis. So with that in mind, let's look at this first example. It says, write an equation in slope-intercept form, it's supposed to be an m there, for the line with a slope of 3 and a y-intercept of -2. So this is really fairly easy. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the formula y equals mx plus b. That's where I'm going to start. And I know I've got to have a y. M stands for what? The slope. Well, what is the slope in this problem? 3. Okay, plus, what does b stand for? The y-intercept, and that is -2. So there you go. That is your answer. That's all you need to do. Doesn't need to be any more difficult than that. That's it. Yeah, you could have 3x minus 2. You don't have to have that plus and negative. It doesn't matter. Either is acceptable. So with that in mind, I want you to go ahead and look at this question. And you already have it at your table. And I need you to enter A, B, C, or D. Okay, so let's see what we had. D, nice job. Okay, they tell you that the slope is -2. So slope of -2, the only one here with the slope of -2 is actually letter D. So that's kind of one of those test-taking strategies. If you ever take like the ACT and that, you can kind of eliminate some answers right away from the get-go. Let's look at another one. Okay, slope of 3/4 and a y-intercept of -1. What is your answer going to be? Three-fourths and a y-intercept of -1. And the answer is letter C. Okay, once again, process of elimination. The only one with the slope of 3/4 was letter C. All right, so let's go ahead. Oops, let's go back to that one. We need to graph now, and so instead of using an XY chart, we're actually going to graph using slope-intercept form. Okay, so notice what it says, step 1. Rewrite in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to start with -2x plus 5y equals 10. Now, if you remember, slope-intercept form was y equals something times x plus another number. So I need to get the y all by itself here. So what do you have to do? Move the 2x over. That's right. So how do I move it over? Add. Good. So I'm going to add 2x to both sides. On the left side, I'm left with 5y. On the right side, I'm going to go ahead and put that 2x in front of that 10. Just because I kind of know I'm putting it in slope-intercept form, I kind of want to make sure I get it with the x first. What am I going to do now? Divide by 5, because if you remember, I wanted to get that y all by itself. It couldn't have a number in front of it. So here I get y to equal 2/5 x plus what? 2. Now notice you have to divide all 3 terms by that 5, not just one or the other. And so based on that, I need to figure out what is my slope in this problem and what is my y-intercept. So in looking at that equation, what is my slope? 2/5. Very good. What is my y-intercept? 2. So this is how you graph. I'm going to go first of all to my y-intercept of 2. And I'm going to put a dot. Now remember, that's on the y-axis. So I'm going to put a dot at 2 on the y-axis. So far, so good? Now what I'm going to do is start at that point, and now I got to graph a slope of 2/5. So slope, remember, means rise over run. So that means I have a rise of 2, so that means I go up 2. A run of 5 means you do what? And there you go. I'm going to put a dot. Now all we need to do is connect those 2 points, and that's the line. So that way we don't have to do an XY chart and let X be -1, 0, and +1. This is another way that you can graph. And actually, this is a little more efficient. When you get this down, this will be a lot faster. Let's look at another one. So what's the first thing you need to do? Get y by itself, so I need to subtract 3x from both sides. So on the left side, I get -4y. On the right side, I have -3x plus 12. What do I do now? Divide by -4. So I'm going to divide each individual component by -4. What do you get on the left? Y equals 3/4 x, and then plus -3, or I could have -3. Doesn't matter, they're the same thing. So let's identify. What's my slope? 3/4. What's my y-intercept? -3. So where do I start? -3. So I put a dot at -3. What do I do next? Slope. So tell me what I need to do from this point. Up 3 over 4. There you go. What do you think? Now make sure you put arrows on the end of that line. Not too bad? Questions on that? We've got 2 more graph ones we're going to look at. And so it says to graph x equals 5. So if I would think about where does x equal 5 on this coordinate plane, where would I go? From where? From the origin, I'm going to go what? Right 5. Okay, now, when I think of x equals 5, I know it's a special line. It's either up and down or it's horizontal. What would make sense here? Would it make sense to do a horizontal line, or would it make sense to do an up and down? Up and down, because if I did horizontal, that would touch x equals 4, x equals 3, x equals 2. Okay, so straight up and down is going to be your x. Okay, so remember, x is always with the vertical line, and we've learned that before this year. Let's look at the next one. 2y equals 4. What am I going to do here? Who said? What did I do? Divide by 2. Yep. So what do I get y to equal? 2. So first thing I'm going to do is put a dot where from the origin? Up 2. Am I going to do a vertical or a horizontal? Horizontal, because vertical is going to touch other values of y. So once again, you might want to get that down. X is always with the vertical line. Y is always with the horizontal line. Okay? X is always with the vertical, Y is always with the horizontal. Now this is a crazy way that I would always remember it, so don't laugh. Okay? You see what I've done? I've used the two X and Y's, and then vertical V, horizontal H. I remember it being that the letters with the 2 tails go together, and the letters without the tails go together. Does that kind of make sense? Because if you put it the other way, it doesn't work that way. Okay? So that's the way that I always remembered when I was in your shoes. The letters with the two tails go together. All right, so let's look at these last two. These last two questions, we haven't looked specifically at an example of it, but I want to see how well you kind of understand the concept of slope-intercept form. So if you look at this, it says, which of the following is an equation in slope-intercept form for the line shown? So I'm going to give you a hint. First thing you're going to do is find the y-intercept. Next thing you're going to do is find the slope. Once you find those two, put them in the equation. And let's see how you do on this first one. Okay? Letter C. Nice job. Okay, so let's real quick look. First thing I'm going to do is find the y-intercept. The y-intercept in this case is positive 1. So once again, you could actually eliminate B and D from the get-go. Okay, now what I need to do is find the slope. So to find the slope, I'm going to look at the pink dot and the purple dot. So to find the slope, I'm going to move this, which is down 1, and then I'm going to move over 3. So I've got a slope of negative 1/3, y-intercept of 3, and so y-intercept of 1, take that back. So y equals negative 1/3 x plus 1. All right, with that in mind, here you go. Let's try the last one. And the answer is letter A. Nice job again. Okay, once again, the y-intercept is what in this problem? Negative 1. So automatically, I can eliminate those two. Now let's find the slope. The slope means I'm going to go up 1, and I'm going to go over 4. So my slope is actually 1/4. All right, so today you've got your assignment written on your sheet. It should be pages 220 through 221, 18 through 50, the evens. Remember tomorrow, it's the ITBS. So this will actually be checked Wednesday. We have ITBS Wednesday, but it'll only take the first 15 minutes. Okay, so we will go on Wednesday. All right?